Thanks for watching the Daily Debate live Wednesday with Taghreed Hussein here on Nile TV International. Tonight, actually, we are in celebration as media people. We're celebrating Media Day, a very honorable occasion that is very much dear to our hearts and on our minds always, because we are all working for the sake of our country, for the love of Egypt. And tonight we are also remembering the media icons and remembering those whose sincere efforts really had a great impact on the industry as a whole. As you know, Nile TV International, the voice of Egypt to the whole world, has been running now. Next October will be like 30 years old. So a very dear part of us, 30 years of excellence here on Nile TV International, sending messages of love and peace and harmony from Egypt to the whole world. From Egypt, the land of peace, the cradle of civilization, to the whole world. While we are celebrating those messages of love today and celebrating as well Media Day, while we are actually celebrating today and tonight the brotherly love between two churches, while we are marking 50 years of relations between the Coptic Orthodox Church and the Roman Catholic Church, His Holiness Pope Tawadros II paid a historical visit to the Vatican, where His Holiness gave a speech calling for world peace. And as an honorable front to Egypt, Pope Tawadros II headed to the Vatican, emanating peace and love in a world of conflict and war, stressing that we are all working together with President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi for the benefit of Egypt's new republic. His Holiness delivered a speech in the presence of His Holiness Pope Francis of the Vatican during the general audience in St. Peter's Square. This is the first time the head of another church actually has done so. So this is history making, and because we all have a role in order to disseminate this sense of love and to promote world peace among the whole world at a time where the world is suffering from turbulences. Tonight at Nile TV International, we're really inviting everyone in order to work on building peace and world of building love and the sense of coexistence. I have all the honor tonight of having our guest of honor, His Excellency Archbishop Nicholas Henry, who is the ambassador of the Vatican to Egypt. Thank you so much, Your Eminence,
Good evening,
for being here. And we're always honored and delighted to have with us Professor Dr. Mona Zaki, novelist and global strategic consultant. Dr. Zaki, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you. Always a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you. And as we are celebrating Media Day. And while we are celebrating Media Day, we are celebrating tonight messages of love, as I said, and peace to the whole world. And this is actually a part of Nile TV's message, disseminating this message on Media Day and on other days as well, extending this sense of love and support to the whole world. Your Eminence, if we can extend a message today of congratulations to media men watching us all around Egypt, what would you say?
Actually, I'm very pleased to be this evening on the occasion of this Media Day, and to congratulate all the people, all the collaborators of medias, and thinking especially of Nile TV after 30 years. So it's still a young company, but it's always new and renewed activity in order to make people know each other better, in order to make us discover first our country, Egypt, but also to make us discover the relationship with the world. And as you were saying before, the fact that being the cradle of so many civilizations, and also thinking that we are close to the birth of so many religions also. It's important to have this message of thinking whom we are, and making people more religious doesn't mean to make people more divided. It should be, on the contrary, mean that people being more faithful, be also more in front of God and thanking the Lord for what we are receiving, being convinced of what we believe, and try to believe and to live what we believe in a much deeper way. And the role of medias is precisely to combine this and make people remind that you should not be somebody who is excluding, but somebody who is including, somebody who should through his life, show that God is loving us and God is also giving us some links, some rules in order to live better and to use better freedom.
Yes, definitely, and we are going to continue our discussion here, and as we read more through the top stories. First, a short break, and we'll be back. In continuous celebration, and the head of the National Media Authority, His Excellency Mr. Hussein Zain, had actually congratulated all media professionals on the occasion of their 89th anniversary, stressing their national role towards the Egyptian national institutions, wishing them more success and progress, continuing their national role in providing meaningful, enlightening and professional media. Head of the National Media Authority sent the national media people on their day an encouraging message, stressing that the generations of media pioneers managed to create an honest, professional media, armed with knowledge and committed to the principles and charters of media honor, as well as patriotism, making Maspero the fortress of media in Egypt and all around the world. His Excellency Zain added that the sons and daughters of the national media are still on the path, having all the appreciation and support to continue their national role by providing media support to the new republic, which is witnessing truly comprehensive development in different fields, stressing that the national media persons are always supporting the homeland and the citizens by presenting a responsible media message that preserves the values and principles of the society and the constants of the state, maintaining its national security. While celebrating Media Day, the head of the National Media Authority, Hussein Zain, honored a number of media icons in appreciation and gratitude for their pioneering role and for their sincere efforts in improving and developing media content with full responsibility throughout their careers. Short break, and we will be discussing more on the daily debate tonight. Stay with us. Live from Nile TV studios, and actually we are continuing our discussion. Very much honored and pleased to have with us His Excellency Archbishop Nicholas Henry, Ambassador of the Vatican to Egypt, and Professor Dr. Mona Zaki, novelist and global strategic consultant. Well, tonight we'll be talking about a very important topic. We'll be talking about history. We'll be talking about the path of the Holy Family in Egypt, and actually it's something, this route that we are very much proud of, disseminating love, peace and tolerance to the whole world. Let's watch this report where His Excellency His Holiness Pope Tawadros giving a speech at St. Peter's Square in the Vatican, and we'll be back.
Coptic Orthodox Pope Tawadros II, Pope of Alexandria and Patriarch of the See of St. Mark, paid a 3-day visit to the Vatican City from the 10th to the 12th of May, where Pope Tawadros II met with Pope Francis, head of the Catholic Church, to mark 50 years of relations between the Coptic Orthodox Church and the Roman Catholic Church. At a rare day in Vatican, Pope Francis was joined at his weekly general audience by Pope Tawadros II, the head of the Coptic Orthodox Church, as a guest of honor for a special joint greeting to the faithful. Pope Tawadros II addressed the crowd gathering at St. Peter's Square, the first time the head of another church has done so. Marking 50 years of relations between the Coptic Orthodox Church and the Roman Catholic Church, Pope Tawadros II gave a speech calling for world peace, appreciating all that Pope Francis has done to serve the entire world in all fields. In his speech, Pope Tawadros II recalled his last visit to St. Peter's Square 10 years ago, when he met with His Holiness Pope Francis, and they suggested celebrating that day as a day of Coptic Catholic friendship. Pope Tawadros II also thanked Pope Francis for his last visit to Egypt back in 2017. In his speech, Pope Francis greeted Pope Tawadros II, thanking him for his commitment to the growing friendship between the Coptic Orthodox Church and the Catholic Church. It's worth mentioning that in 1973, Egypt's Pope Shenouda III and Pope Paul VI signed the joint Christological Declaration. The visit also commemorated the 10th anniversary of the Day of Brotherly Love, which the two churches have been celebrating annually since Pope Tawadros II had first visited the Vatican on May 10th of 2013 to congratulate Pope Francis on his election. The visit by Pope Tawadros II to the Vatican and the exchange of gifts with Pope Francis asserts the amicable relations between the Coptic and Catholic churches.
Yes, Your Eminence, as we've seen in the report that has highlighted the amicable relations between the two churches, and the visit by His Holiness Pope Tawadros II to the Vatican actually came very much timely, disseminating peace and love to the world at a time of many turbulences around the world.
Exactly, and I think what was very important is celebrating the 50th anniversary of this very important meeting between Pope Shenouda and Pope Paul VI. And as you were saying, also this 10th anniversary of the meeting of Pope Tawadros II and Pope Francis. And in such a difficult moment for the world, where there are so many conflicts, not speaking of wars, but also some the tones which are sometimes in the countries, and lack of values. When the most important value is only materialistic, or money, or whatever, and then you forget what's most important. What is our common treasure? Humanity. What God has given us, this capacity to be in relationship one with the other. And if we just put our interest first, and we don't think that we are all sons of the same God, then problems start. It's important, therefore, first among Christians, that's what also Pope Francis, Pope Tawadros has been doing and renewing with this important meeting they had. It's not only commemorating, it's just not only an anniversary, but it's something which is going on. We have, to, of course, always to go back to our roots, to go back to what is uniting us, but also see concretely what can we do in this presence. Being both Pope Tawadros and Pope Francis Christians, they have also to unite to give the good example of what they believe. And it's always very important to see what unites us. It doesn't mean that we don't forget that we have differences, but a difference shouldn't be an occasion of fighting. It should be always an occasion of deepening our relationship and living better our own faith. And whenever people are trying to divide, I'm always saying this, it's the action of the devil. The devil wants to divide. He is the prince of division. Mm-hmm. And whenever you have this conflict, just because it's pushing for people to think too much on their own and not thinking that they're part of a common world.
Yes, definitely. Dr. Mona, we've seen that important visit, and actually we've seen this amicable atmosphere, how it brings the two churches closer from the eyes of a strategist. How do you see this important visit? How does it foster further peace to the whole world?
Look at, I built my my response upon Monseigneur's remarks, because as a Copt myself, I'm Copt Orthodox, but with a Catholic education, because I got my education at Mère de Dieu, a Catholic church, and among sisters, and it's a wonderful friendship. It's a wonderful relationship, mm-hmm. And as Monseigneur was saying, we're trying those meetings are very important on political and strategic level, because we have a lot in common, so we try to unite instead of divide. And I take this opportunity to congratulate the media people in Egypt for their 89th anniversary.
Thank you. And
the 1st of June is the 2021st anniversary on the entry of the Holy Family to Egypt.
Yes.
So when we talk about the Holy Family and the journey of the Holy Family to Egypt in the context of those wonderful visits and wonderful relations between the Copts and the Catholics. So it's unity, and the role of media is so important in uniting, not in dividing, as Monsignor was saying. So the media here plays a huge role on a strategic level, on soft power level, on peace and love level. So this is so important to consider for the future on a strategic level as well, on the long run, not only on the short and medium terms. So this is great. We're very proud of that, and we're very proud that Egypt was chosen by God to host the Holy Family and to have this wonderful blessings for 3.5 years. Baby Jesus came to Egypt at the age of 2, and he stayed for 3.5 years, 3 years and a half in Egypt. So that's a good time to really enjoy and to know the country very well at this part of childhood with the Holy Family, of course, with Virgin Mary and Saint Joseph. So it's many things together. So this trip from His Eminence Pope Tawadros to His Eminence the Pope of Vatican, Francis II, is such a great joy to see all this coming at the same time. So
yes, it is history making. Actually, Your Eminence talking about this sense of friendship that has been announced was really something unforgettable. We've seen also the sense of exchanging gifts and this amicable atmosphere, giving messages actually to the whole world on that special day.
It's important also to remember, see, when we just spoke about the trip of the Holy Family, and what was the occasion? Well, the occasion was a persecution. And when you have precisely this moment where our neighbor, Sudan, is going through a very difficult moment of civil confrontation and violence and so on, I want to say that I also, the witness of what is at the moment, the attitude of Egypt, welcoming the people with carefully, because they have to be careful for the security. But at the same time, this is reminding us of the necessity in this moment to be welcoming, like Egypt is doing with all people coming from Sudan, but at the same time, to have this message of peace. And I think it's not a coincidence, it's just in God's plan that we need to hear and we need to listen, recapacitate, and just try to see what we have a common interest. We are citizens of this world. We are citizens, and we have this deposit given to us by God, and we have to fructify what we have received as gifts and not look at the others with jealousy. And this is so important in this context, to listen to the message that Pope Tawadros II and Pope Francis renewed on the occasion of the 50th anniversary of this theological agreement, but also to see that it's always in the actuality. And you see, it's so important not to say this one is right, this one is wrong, but to remember principles based on our common humanity. We are the image of God, and so we have to respect this image in the other.
Yeah.
And I think both spiritual leaders have been reminding this necessity in this context in which Egypt is welcoming, again, like Egypt has been welcoming the Holy Family, persecuted. Now people are fleeing our neighbors Sudan, and they find in Egypt a welcome. It's not easy. You have so many people who are being welcomed here, but it's so important, so I want to stress it, how I've been very much impressed for the past 1 month of the attitude of the Egyptian authorities to try to welcome as much as possible, and without shouting, without complaining. And that's, I think, an homage I have to give, and thinking that at the same time, this meeting which took place in Rome was at the right moment, because this message comes from a country which has experienced in his life, in his history, this necessity of being a welcoming country at the same time to boost this relationship between people.
Yes, boosting relations between people and this sense of friendship Dr. Mona, and also out of the emanating from the principle of fighting extremism from the eyes of a novelist, and you yourself had touched upon
Yes.
this issue in your novel in Kingdom of the Heart and in Mamlakt al-Qalb. We've seen more. We've seen those feelings of love. We've seen those feelings of how the Egyptian family sometimes sacrifices a lot for the sake of the love of this country.
Yeah.
Because it's running in our blood, the different segments of the society. So such important role also for the religious figures to like give a message by example.
Absolutely. This is the dilemma, the political figures versus the religious figures. You see, the political figures don't think of the value of religion in fighting. It's all interests, and this is creating disasters in the whole world. And it's, as we were discussing, it's a turbulent world, full of wars and even the climate change. It's disrespect of the environment God gave us. You see, so, and the wars and the epidemics and it's full of disasters. It's full of tragedies. It's with terrorism, of course, with fighting because of persecution, or fighting because of interest, because of weapon, business, or drugs. Or the world is full of evil. The world is full of evil. So here comes the knowledge, the value of knowledge of God is love. The value of knowledge that God has created human beings because He loves them, because He created them on His image. So if people realize, as Monsignor was saying, religious leaders really focus on this particular point, God loves you all. Everybody, not with no exceptions, with all the generalizations of all humankind. God loves us all. If we appreciate this, automatically we will love Him back. Once we love God back, this is the point here. People forgot that there is God to love. So the love is missing. And I really like to press a point here. I loved when His Excellency President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, during Christmas time at the Coptic Church, he said, this is the house of God, and this is where we need to love one another. God is love, and he advised, حبوا بعض, love each other. And this is the commandment, the first commandment of Jesus, of God. Love God by all your feelings, by all your thinking, by all yourself, the spirit, the soul. So once people start to love God back based on his love for them, the love, hopefully, peace and love will spread among nations. Disregarding any differences, any diversifications, because this love as a vision, as a strategist and as a novelist, once you have a unity or a union in a vision, it will unite everybody and not divide them, you see. So if people unite over love, hopefully, and they will think the best for each other, and indirectly it will come back to them.
Yes.
So it's the whole point as a novelist, and I'm touching this in my second novel. The whole point is just love God back and enjoy this love, so that you love yourself, then you love one another, and then hopefully peace will come to this world again, and respect of environment will come back.
Definitely. Well, during his visit to the Vatican, His Eminence Pope Tawadros II attended the weekly general audience by His Eminence Pope Francis that coinciding with commemorating the 50th anniversary of the release of a joint statement that was back in 1973 in the Vatican City by Pope Paul VI and Pope Shenouda III, and that was the first such meeting in over 1,000 years. So this is really historic, Your Eminence.
It's historic, the fact that in 1970 this event took place. And at the same moment, as you were underlining, it was the first time that a head of a very important religion, Christian religion, would participate and also make a speech in the occasion of the general audience, which Pope Francis is normally having every Wednesday. It's important because I think, as Dr. Zaki was just saying, if we realize that God is the one who first loved us, and then we have to get back to that love, then we have to think of what is uniting us. We have, therefore, if we really love God, if we really practice our faith, and we know better our faith, we'll discover that there is no room for extremism. And one of the most important things is just to study, just education.
Yes.
And the fact of being together and commemorating, was saying not only an historical event, but something practical. This declaration, the theological declaration, has to be re-studied, re-meditated, and first of all, prayed on. And it's not only a matter of being united, it's a matter also of saying, what kind of example are we giving? What kind of unity are we giving? Not only between two big faiths, like the Coptic Orthodox and the Catholic faith, but at the same time, it's giving an example for all those who live not only in Egypt, but in the Middle East and in the world, having this kind of preoccupation. As Jesus Christ saying, I pray that they be united. And it's important not only among Christians, it's very important among humanity. Think that we are in the same ship. We are in the same confrontation with some hostile forces, but goodness is more important than evil. That's what also is the message is important. And to rediscover that God is loving us means if I really trust and if I really believe what I say, then necessarily my behavior will not be a behavior of hostility, will not be a behavior of division, but will be a behavior of building bridges, and not only building because I feel like this, but because it's my duty, it's my identity as a person loved by God, as a believer. And this should absolutely exclude, in any case, any words, any attitude of violence, of retaliation. Of course, we have our faith and we believe and we trust, otherwise, we would be like hypocrites. But we have, at the same time, to think that it's not by imposing, by force, by hatred that we will reach anything. We have to be ourselves good examples and trying to build together this society, this humanity that the Lord has given us and trusted us.
Yes, definitely. And more than one achievement, actually, the President was very much keen on the project of renovating the path of the Holy Family across the state, having Egypt as a Vatican pilgrimage destination. And actually the route of the Holy Family, familiarizing the world with the route of the Holy Family in Egypt, such a project that we are actually here in Egypt very much proud of, that always Egypt is the safe haven, people seeking refuge in Egypt as a safe haven. Short break and we will be back to discuss. Familiarizing the whole world with the root of the Holy Family. Dr. Mona, a very important and interesting event is taking place tomorrow, actually, at the National Museum for Civilization, and it is going to be hosting an unprecedented feature concerning the approach of familiarizing also the world with the root of the Holy Family, but also through soft power.
Yes, because this is a great opportunity to celebrate this day. As we said, it's the celebration of 2021 years day for the entry of the Holy Family to Egypt. And as God has really described this, blessed are my people, Egypt. So Egypt has hosted the Holy Family for this particular time, 3 years and a half, from the north Sinai till the south, till the Upper Egypt, Asyut, with a beautiful route that covered and blessed all Egypt, the desert of Egypt, the land of Egypt, the Nile of Egypt. So the whole country is blessed, but we also have to say, and the Egyptians as well are blessed, because we need to stress on this. Because when God said, blessed are my people, Egypt, so the people, the Egyptians, are very friendly. They are hosting people from all over the world, especially those who have been persecuted and all the refugees coming from different, Armenians first, yes. You know, Armenians were persecuted, and they found all the welcome in the country, and many other Europeans. Syria, Sudan, as Monsignor was saying, Iraq, Libya, Nigeria. Egypt is the center of safety and the center of blessings and the center of peace for those people. So they come and find refugees in Egypt, and I do hope the Egyptians themselves appreciate this, you know, that I'm very proud to be Egyptian. I'm very proud that Egypt has been chosen by God, and I always use what His Eminence Pope Tawadros, if the word is in the hands of God, Egypt is in the heart of God. So tomorrow's celebration is just a representation of this beautiful blessing that was bestowed on Egypt with the blessed visit of the Blessed Holy Family to Egypt. And the celebration will include a beautiful exhibition with the 5 main stops of the Holy Family by a lovely artist, Dr. Manal Mitwalli, and also a VR, virtual reality tour by professionals headed by Dr. Meher Ashan with different languages, so people come in and really feel all the places and pray in the churches and see all the places that were visited by the Holy Family that turned to be churches or monasteries. Like this book you are holding yourself was published by the monastery of nuns in Old Cairo.
St. George Convent.
St. George Convent. So you see, so it's a big celebration, and we hope that all, and it's a celebration for all Egyptians. It's not a Christian celebration alone, but it's a celebration covering all Egyptians, because the Blessed Family, when they came to Egypt before Christianity, before Islam. Egypt was ruled by the pharaohs during that time. So it's a kind of a representation of Egyptians together to celebrate this beautiful holy visit to a blessed country called Egypt.
God bless you, my dear Dr. Mona. A final note on behalf of Your Eminence, talking about marketing the route of the Holy Family in Egypt, in the Vatican. How do you see that?
I think, as just Dr. Mona Zaki was telling, it's very important not only to remember that's part of the history of Egypt, and I see this trip of the Holy Family for an occasion for both people coming from outside and also for Egyptians to make a pilgrimage in history, and pilgrimage of in their own civilization and their history for the Egyptians. Because welcoming people coming from abroad who are not just coming from tourism, but also rediscovering a spiritual aspect of their life, a spiritual aspect of our history. And that's very important because, you see, you have so many countries and you have so many nice, wonderful monuments of different civilizations in Egypt. But you have also, I think it's a wonderful occasion, the trip of the Holy Family, because you have monuments, because you have also the faith of so many people. And be they Christian or Muslim, many people are just very proud of what they have, the monuments and the fact that the Holy Family took refuge in Egypt for 3 years at least. And this is so important because this is making us in Egypt rediscovering our history, our identity, in spite of many differences we may have, also historical, but we are a part of the same people. And at the same time, it's also an occasion to rediscover our roots and show it to people who are coming, many times they're coming from countries in which spirituality has been gone, and that people don't have many relationship to God. Seeing how religious the Egyptian people is, and going from one place, especially the main places of the trip of the Holy Family, is making people from a materialistic world rediscover the reality, rediscover the necessity of the relationship to God. And that's what's always is creating a great impact on people who are coming in Egypt. That they may come just for a touristical reason, and then they discovered how religious the Egyptian people is. And they can rediscover their own story.
Explore the people.
Exactly. That's very important, I think. And that's how I see the important, not only historical, but also, and not only cultural, but also spiritual aspect of following the path of the Holy Family in Egypt.
God bless your Eminence.
Thank you very
Our
much.
guest of honor tonight, His Excellency Archbishop Nicholas Henry, Ambassador of the Vatican to Egypt. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, and
for honoring,
congratulations immediately.
honoring Nile TV International by your gracious presence. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
I thank you so much, Professor Dr. Mona Zaki, novelist and our great icon as global strategic consultant. Thank you so much for coming,
My
Dr.
pleasure.
Mona.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I thank you, dear viewers, for joining us. To all my colleagues, happy Media Day. May all your achievements and all your wishes come true. Many thanks for watching. Tomorrow, another team. I'm Taghreed Hussein.